How's everybody doing today? This is Corey Lee's Boxing, and we are back with another banger. So please smash the hell out of that like button, you guys, and subscribe. And yeah, man, we back with another one, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know. But yeah, man, Shawn Porter, you guys, is rating, mind you. This is the same guy that's been in the ring with both fighters. He's been toe to toe with Terrence Crawford. He's been toe to toe with Earl Spence, and both fighters have gave him work. You know what I'm saying? And my personal opinion about both fighters is, I mean, these guys are coming to fight. And Shawn Porter came out with a tough game plan, and he had a tough fight with with Earl Spence, but not so much with Terrence Crawford. And but he was in the ring with both fighters, so he knows exactly, how everything went down, how both fighters fight in the ring, and he rates Terrence Crawford number one welterweight in the world of boxing. Being that he's been in there with both guys, he knows exactly, you know, he knows the ins and outs of both guys, and I think that plays a pivotal role in in these fights. These fights aren't easy. These fights aren't gimmies. They're tough fights at the top level. You know what I'm saying? They're tough fights at the top level, in my personal opinion. And you know, Shawn Porter had to say what he had to say. That's what he believes in. That's how he feels. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man. I think Shawn Porter is a really good fighter, but he's retired now, and yeah, he has it his opinion, but I think he was at two different stages of his career when he fought both guys. Um, and I just think that him and Kenny Porter was on their way out. While he was fighting Crawford. He even said in a recent interview, he said, that that was that was the first time I ever told my dad no. Shawn Porter, when Shawn Porter was talking to when Shawn Porter was talking about fighting Terrence Crawford and stuff like that in the training camp, he was just pretty much like, that was the first time I ever told my dad no in my life. And so, I just think that plays a pivotal role. Derek James has said, and he's continued to say that, Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter haven't spoke since since fight night, pretty much. I know they live right up the street from each other. Um, but damn, man, wow, man. But both guys are definitely, you know, here to entertain. And I just want a good fight, with Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford, both guys being, number one, number two, tied for number one, however you want to break it down, as the number one welterweights in the entire world of boxing, man. That's big time. That's big time. Just to have that on your name, that's big time, man. I'm the number one welterweight in the world of boxing, man. That's a big title, man. And he's picking Crawford. And I think Crawford schooled Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter, schooled him a little bit more than Earl Spence did. Earl Spencer was a split decision win for Earl Spence in the Shawn Porter fight. And in the Crawford versus Porter fight, Crawford got him out of there. He iced him. It was like I think it was a 10th or 11th round knockout. So yeah, man. I mean, both guys, you guys got to understand, man. These guys are coming out. He says, shout out to Beavis in the chat. He says, Porter was okay. Kenny was too quick to stop the fight. I feel like Kenny Porter jumped in a little bit too soon, in that Crawford fight. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man. I think he stepped in a little bit too soon. If I was Kenny Porter, I don't think I would have stepped in that quick. You know what I mean? But that's not my son. They have a father-son relationship. But Derek James said in a recent interview, he said that, Kenny Porter was gonna stop the fight regardless. So, you got to think about that too, you guys. You know, was Kenny Porter, you know, thinking about stopping this fight in the beginning of the fight? You know, before these guys even got in the ring, was Kenny Porter thinking about stopping this fight? And to be honest with you guys, I think he was, man. I think Kenny Porter knew all along if his son got hurt, he was going to stop the fight, man. He said it numerous times leading up into the fight. And I just think that this is a big deal, man. You know, that Derek James is pretty much, you know, calling out Kenny Porter for, you know, not even letting his son finish the fight and pretty much saying that he had a hidden agenda the whole time to stop the fight, which some would say that's true. You know, some would say that's true. You know, Kenny Porter, you know, came in there and, you know, he said in recent interviews before the fight, before the Crawford fight, he said if his son got hurt, that he would stop the fight. You know, but he's always said that. Smash that like button as soon as you guys come in, y'all. Let's get these likes up, man. Let's definitely get these likes up. Beats in the chat says Porter fell over more than a punch. Porter was gassing a bit. Yeah, I mean, and you know, Kenny Porter called out, you know, Shawn Porter, his son, on the conditioning aspect. He said that, you know, they didn't prepare right for this, you know, and you know, Kenny Porter, you know, Shawn Porter has some things to say about that. You know, Shawn Porter has some things to say about that. And, you know, I want to pull up that interview actually so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about and see where both of these both guys are going, man. Let me let y'all hear this shit. This is Kenny Porter right after the fight, y'all. Shout out to Radio Raheem, my boy. Shout out, man. Shout out to Radio Raheem, man. Good dude. Good freaking dude, man. Look at this, though. Boom. Let me play this.
How difficult was it to stop this fight, knowing that your son was still conscious and maybe could continue, and knowing that that would maybe end the dream he had?
It was easy. It was easy. Like I said, do you have children?
I don't.
Okay. Well, if you have children, you watch how they walk. You watch them when they learn to walk. You watch their mannerisms. You figure out things that make them happy. You figure out things that make them sad. You figure out things that they do and that they're good at. And so when I saw that my son was not winning,
yeah, they haven't spoken, Beavis.
Was not doing
since fight night.
Was not trying.
That's what Derek James said.
As hard as he had previously, I just looked at it and said, okay.
Former opponent Shawn Porter. Former opponent's trainer, so, excuse me, you know, of Shawn Porter.
He began to
this is fight night. Like this is post-fight of the Crawford fight. This is him getting interviewed.
That you came in tonight and prepared to stop it.
Because
now you hear what he said. This is a key part of the interview. This is a
You said you knew this was going to be the outcome, even in training, that you came in tonight prepared to stop it.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what he just said? He said that Kenny Porter said that he was prepared to stop this fight leading up into this fight. Okay, so the writing was kind of on the wall, you guys, if you listen.
You said you knew this was going to be the outcome, even in training, that you came in tonight prepared to stop it.
Because, as he said, he knew back when he fought Errol Spence. So I saw those things as well. You know, and he got up for the Errol Spence fight. You know, he got up for it. And didn't go his way, but, you know, he got up and he did all the things he needed to do. And
this shit crazy, bro. Derek James called that shit out.
Feeling that maybe he had that he didn't want to do this anymore. It was beginning to speed was there.
What are you
still there? Things with conditioning still there. But like he said, he decided that he was going to save it just for the fight. You can't. You got to prepare the same way you did when you got here. Same way you got here. Whatever brought you here is what you're going to have to do to stay here. You know? So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him standing up and saying what he said tonight. That is over. I'm proud that he made that decision on his own.
Lastly, on this subject, what do you think brought that complacency along?
You hear him?
Brought that complacency about.
And I'm not even going to continue to keep, you know what I mean, with the interview. You got the gist of it. Pretty much Kenny Porter's calling out his son, saying pretty much, you know, he was going to stop the fight with Terrence Crawford regardless. You know what I'm saying? If he got hurt, he was definitely going to stop it. But if he felt like his son wasn't doing enough to win the fight, he was going to stop it. So all the way around, he was thinking about stopping this fight. And, you know, Derek James being the trainer that he is, you know, he has some things to say, you know, as well, you know, as, you know, with Shawn Porter and stuff like that, you know. He has some things to say. Let me pull up the. Listen.
He was showing Shawn that he's still the boss.
Listen.
There's a power struggle going on in the ring. And what is Shawn do when his dad gets sacrificed? What is he do? He retired and didn't tell him. Ask him when the last time you talked to your dad. The night they was in the corner.
See, Derek James said that the last time they had talked was the night he was in the corner.
Retired and didn't tell him. Ask him when the last time you talked to your dad. The night they was in the corner.
See, told you guys. There you go, right there, man. So I just feel, you know, Derek James, you know, said it. You know, that's what he meant. And you know, Shawn Porter was in there, man. He was in there with Terrence Crawford, and he showed. Beavis in the chat says Porter was winning the fight too. Unreal. It's crazy. You know, some people say that Kenny Porter's, you know, overshadowing Shawn Porter in his boxing career and, you know, everything he's done and, you know, his accolades and, you know, his son, pretty much his dad is tarnishing that by, you know, stopping a fight and, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, people on Shawn Porter's podcast was telling Shawn Porter that, you know, they didn't think he was going to win the fight anyways, you know, so it was a good stoppage. I'm still kind of shocked that they would say that, but, you know, hey, that's their opinion. That's Shawn Porter's podcast homies and shit, so I guess they know him a little bit better than we do. But I thought he was game in that fight. I thought Shawn Porter was game. I thought he showed a lot of heart and determination in the Terrence Crawford fight, and I just thought that, you know, he could have done better in spots. You know, he could have definitely done better in spots. I did not like the way, you know, the way that, you know, I feel like Shawn Porter, he could have came a little bit harder in the Terrence Crawford fight. You know, where was that, you know, coming in, you know, blazing, you know, pretty much, you know, arms swinging, you know, type of Terrence Crawford when we seen versus the Keith Thurman. You know, where was that Shawn Porter at in the Terrence Crawford fight? But, you know, some people say, like, you know, Beavis in the chat says Porter was winning the fight too. Unreal. He says Shawn's not spoken to Kenny. What? He said, wow, that's true? Question mark. Yeah, it's true. That's what Derek James is saying. Head trainer of Earl Spence that beat Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter. Beavis says Kenny's cap and Porter been in much harder fights than Bud fight. Kenny's suspect. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, man, that Kenny Porter's doing this to his son, but that's what it's come to. That's what it's come to, man. Kenny Porter, you know, for all intents and purposes, man, I think him and his son is over, man. I think Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter, I think their whole, you know, I think Shawn Porter might fight again, but I don't think he'll be trained by his father, man. I know it sounds crazy, but Shawn Porter can still make money out here. I think if he just takes a year off, takes a little time off, I think Shawn Porter can still make money out here. I don't think he needs to stay retired, especially if he wants to move up to 154, which he fought at 154 in the amateurs. So I just felt like, or it's like 152 or whatever. He fought at around near 150. I think he might have fought at 160 as well. But yeah, man, Shawn Porter, I mean, he's a good fighter, man. There's no doubt about it. Shawn Porter is a really good fighter. But did he have what it takes to beat Terrence Crawford that night? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Terrence Crawford was too much for him. I think Kenny Porter stepped in and, did what a father was going to do. And he seen his son get knocked down 2 times. He gave his son the benefit of the doubt on the first knockdown. But the second knockdown was pretty much too much. He was just like, no way, man. I'm not putting my son in that danger. Which I understand, man. I fully understand, but the fans wanted to see that shit, The fans wanted to see that shit. They wanted to see, they wanted to see the end of it. They wanted to see, Terrence Crawford get that spectacular knockout. But like I said, if you guys are just joining, smash that like button. This is what Derek James said about, this is Earl Spence's head coach, says about Shawn Porter and his father's relationship. Listen in.
He was on Shawn, he's still the boss. There's a power struggle going on in the ring. And what did Shawn do when your dad did something? What did he do? He retired and didn't tell him. Ask him when the last time you talked to your dad. The night they was in the car.
See, he said the last night that Shawn Porter talked to his father was the night they was in the corner together. That he was working Shawn Porter's corner. And he said he retired and didn't tell him.
He was Shawn, he's still the boss. It was a power struggle.
It was a power struggle between them two. So yeah, man, it was a power struggle. That's what they're saying, you guys. They're saying it was a power struggle, man, between both fighters. And I'm gonna be honest, man. I think that Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter, I think that their ties are over. I think it's over with them two. I think Porter, Shawn Porter. I think they've they ran its course. That father-son relationship has ran its course. And I think it's a wrap. I think it's a wrap. I don't think they'll ever get back. He says, I not watched Welterweight podcast since the fight. Shawn treated like a 10-year-old all his career by Kenny Porter. Damn. He said like a 10-year-old, man. That's what I'm saying, man. It's crazy, man. But that's where they're at with that right now, man. I wanted to give you guys a quick little live stream, man. But please comment and subscribe. And I'm gonna give you guys a couple videos throughout the day. And I'm gonna start dropping them every day. So definitely tune into that. This is Corey Lee Boxing, and you've definitely been back. We've definitely been back with another banger. Merch on the way too, you guys. So look out for the merch. I got merch on the way. The new logo's on the way. Support the channel on Cash App, Corey Lee Boxing. And thank you guys so much, man. Peace out.